Hello and welcome to another special circumstances review. Today we're going to take a look at a new entry into the flashlight market. What we have here today is the Yeelight AK21. Now Yeelight is a new company in the flashlight market. They're just trying to make inroads and have launched a full line of flashlights, including this baby right here. So the AK21 is, well, it's a 2-cell or 2 CR123 light. You can also use it with 18650 lithium-ion batteries, which is what I typically run these types of lights on, including my own everyday carry light. This one is on the large side. This is frankly probably too large for most people to actually carry as an EDC. However, given the specs, the high on this one is actually 630 lumens, and it's an XML emitter with large, very large and deep, smooth reflector, so it really throws quite nicely. But 630 lumens in a relatively compact package like this really means that you can use it for stuff like search and rescue. You could use it police and even military use as well. Pretty rugged light overall, very heavy duty. Has some decent knurling on it. So let's go into some of the design features here. This uses a magnetic control ring, and you have 3 settings. So low, medium, high, and strobe. Nice solid detent at each setting. You should almost be able to hear it. And I can even show you here what it'll actually look like. We'll start with the low setting. You can barely see that in the light, but that's the hot spot. We got medium, high, strobe. So we'll try that on medium there. Here we go. Nice defined hot spot and a smooth spill beam. This really is a pretty decently throwing light. It has a nice bit of reach on it. Finish is, of course, hard anodized type 3. Very even, good color matching in general. Very few logos and symbols and so on, but the ones that are there are nice and crisp. They're good contrast on those. You only have the logo here with the model number, and then you have the markings for, on the control ring and the indicator right there. Seems to be pretty well put together, good heat sinking. The control ring has a really nice smooth action, which is pretty good, pretty impressive. We have the tail cap here. They use square cut threads, which is my personal favorite. This is the 18650 I have in here. Inside of the battery tube is, of course, anodized, and you have a gold coated spring on that end and another spring here, which means you get a little bit of recoil mitigation if you were to use this as a weapons light. It's a little on the big side for a weapons light, but it doesn't stop some people. So forward clicky, of course, so you have a momentary nice action. Pretty positive click, both a tactile and audible click. And you have knurling on the barrel and on the tail cap and on the control ring here. Not super aggressive, but I think it's aggressive enough. It actually feels pretty good. It's not going to tear up your gear or your skin if you brush up against it or something. And then you also have this grip ring here, which is removable. But honestly, if you're going to use the clip, I would suggest keeping the grip ring on, because the grip ring actually keeps the clip in place much better. It actually sort of compresses the clip into place, which is kind of interesting. It works fairly well though. And then you also have a somewhat unusual feature here, which I haven't seen on a whole lot of other lights. You have a tripod mount, standard 1/4 inch tripod threading here. So you can mount it to a tripod and use it for area lighting or something like that. For instance, something like one of the large Joby Gorilla Pods could be a really good match for this. Could make it a very versatile setup, actually. And you have the clip. The clip is fairly decent. I would like to see them make the clip just a little bit shorter. As it is right now, it kind of impinges on this lip right here. So know if you can see that, but makes it kind of difficult to get on. If you moved up just a little bit, like maybe to right about here, it'd be a little bit easier to actually put on, you know, whether you're strapping it to, clipping it to web gear or to your pants pocket. And like I said, this is definitely on the big side for EDC. Compared, this here is a Surefire C2 Centurion. As you can see, the Yeelight is considerably larger. That being said, though, this one with a nice, this one will not take, of course, an 18650 cell. I've not had it bored out or anything, but I have a Malkoff in here, which puts about 235 lumens or so. This thing is 630 lumens on high. Kind of contrast that with another 630 lumen light that I've reviewed before. This is the Sunwayman M40C, and as you can see, it's actually slightly longer than the AK21. Uses 2 18650 batteries or 4 CR123 cells, and there's not that much difference in the reflector actually. This one is definitely bigger, but it's also orange peel, so it doesn't throw as well as this guy does. Also, you have a larger LED in this guy. The M40C uses an MCE LED, which has a larger die size than the XML, which mostly translates into a floodier beam. So, pretty nice light. I'm actually fairly impressed with what they've got here, especially for this being their first real entry into the flashlight market. MSRP and stuff is like that is still up in the air, but I'll see if I can't find that out and add it to the text portion of the review, which you can find on the website, linked in the info below. So another nice feature on this is the stainless steel bezel ring. I really like the stainless steel on the bezel because it makes the light itself a lot more durable. This is also designed to be easily removed, and you can actually thread in filters instead here, which is kind of nice. You have your ultra clear glass lens with anti-reflective coating, which is really good, and of course this really nice big reflector. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but it really does an excellent job, and the LED is extremely well centered. I really cannot fault any of the build quality as far as that goes. The anodizing is generally pretty good. There are a few chips along the edges, but you know what? Honestly, overall, I'd say this is really quite nice. I would like to see the grip ring. Some of the edges on the grip ring are a little sharp. I'd like to see them just bevel just a little bit more. But other than that, I really can't fault it too much as far as that goes. The machine quality is otherwise quite good. Anodized threads, so you can lock out the tail cap. The forward portion here does not have anodized threads, but that's common and is usually done for to basically ensure better conductivity with the actual light engine itself. Pretty nice design. It's definitely it's a pretty aggressive design as far as just the way it looks, but really it works well, and it's easy to use. It's very comfortable to use, and the grip ring means you really have a nice solid grip on this. I also like the spacing on the levels. You have some pretty decent low. The lowest level is pretty nice. I think it's like 15 lumens, and I'll make sure I get those numbers correct for the actual text portion of the review. But I like the spacing on it. It's a useful spacing, so you can go from a very long-lasting lowest level into, you know, the 630 lumen blistering output, which is pretty good for a light this size. You can get, there are others that put out more than that, but you do sacrifice quite a bit of runtime when you get into higher outputs. So 630 lumens with an XML is actually a pretty good compromise for runtime and output. So I'm pretty happy with that kind of output in a light this size. Really nice light for stuff like search and rescue, just because it is relatively compact but still powerful. And let's see, there's one other thing that I want to address. Oh yes, so the information from Yeelight does specify this is current controlled. Now, I'm sure this is basically just a typo, but to be perfectly specific about that, yes, it's current control on the high output. The medium and the low uses pulse width pulse width modulation, or PWM, which is a very efficient way of moderating brightness or output, but it does have a slight strobing or flickering effect. I myself I'm pretty sensitive to that, and I see it where other people will say they don't notice anything. So for me, it is barely noticeable. It's fast enough to where I think most people probably won't see it. And it's not really disruptive, at least not for my use. But it is something that I have noticed. So, but on the high output, no PWM. It's definitely current controlled. So it's just an interesting setup to have, well, two different types of control mechanism for regulating the output. Pretty interesting way to do it. So I overall really like this light. It is big. It comes with a decent holster. Actually, I have that right here. And it's really just a webbing holster. You have your Velcro on the back here, and then place you can thread a belt through. I've actually used this on Molly, and it works fairly well for that. Strap it to the side of a pack. A little bit of stretch in the side, and this, honestly, this is a decent enough holster for something that comes with it free. So that's actually better than some of the holsters I've seen in the past. Some of them were just complete garbage. This you could actually use and still get decent use out of. Generally speaking, though, the AK21 comes with a fairly standard set of extras. So there's a lanyard with a clip and a split ring, and you have a couple of different options for attaching the lanyard. You got the little lanyard hole right here, and then you have a lanyard hole up here. Comes with extra O-rings. Comes with an extra switch boot, and I believe that's pretty much it. But that's also, I mean, that's a fairly standard package for most lights these days. The strobing on it, as far as output goes, the strobe is nice. It's very annoying, which is what they should be, and I would peg it somewhere between 11 and 15 hertz. I haven't had a chance to actually measure it, but that's what it looks like to my eye compared to other lights I have where I know the strobe rate. And that's a pretty good sort of range for the strobe to have for tactical self-defense use and so on. But yeah, I really think Yeelight is a company to watch out for. Considering this is one of their very first offerings on the market, it's really an impressively built light. They're obviously listening to customers, what they want, and looking at what else has been done in the market, because a lot of the features that are desirable today on lights are what you see on the AK21. So overall, I'd say these guys are absolutely somebody to keep an eye out for, and I'll see if I can't get MSRP and possibly even dealer information up on the site for this as well. So I think that's pretty much all I have for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments on the website, not on the YouTube video, please. But other than that, feel free to ask away. Yeelight AK21, thanks for watching. Have a great day.